Hey guys, so in today's video I wanted to share some quick little journals you can put together. These journals are made completely out of craft paper, so different craft paper pages, so papers, envelopes, paper bags and things like that. So the entire journal is made out of brown craft paper. I thought these journals would be a really fun project to do now before Christmas because I think they would make super cute, quick little gift ideas. I think the really fun thing about making a journal completely out of craft paper is it makes the journal super versatile. So this journal can be customized however the recipient wants to. Any type of paper and decorations they want to add to this brown craft paper journal will match and will look really nice. So it's really easy to take this and then turn it into something themed, or you can leave it blank and you can leave it pretty plain and you can use it as is, just with pen, do some written journaling, add some photos, maybe do some drawings, or just use it for jotting down lists or whatever in your bag. So of course you can make these in all different sizes as well. This is the size that I'm going to be showing you guys today, and these are just super quick to put together, so I really hope you guys like it and I hope you guys give it a go. I've got two little variations here, so these were both made really similarly. This is the one I'm going to take you through, and then I'll talk a little bit about this one at the end. So to make these little craft journals, we're just going to want to go ahead and grab everything we can find that is made out of craft paper. So for me, I already have a lot of craft stuff around my craft room, but you can also usually buy craft paper supplies pretty cheap. So some different ideas. I've got some craft envelopes. These were just from Kmart here in Australia. I also got these craft paper bags from Kmart here in Australia. And then around my room, I also had some random little bits. So I had a craft envelope. It doesn't matter that the craft color is different as well. You can mix and match different shades of craft. I think that looks really cool, really interesting. So I've also grabbed different craft paper bags that I already had. So they're all different textures and paper types. These are like craft lunch bags that you can get at the grocery store. And then I also have different types of craft paper. So again, they're all in different shades and they feel a little bit different, so they're different weights. So I have this craft paper which almost feels like a cardstock, it's quite thick. And then I have some random thinner sheets of craft paper, again in a different shade, and some little scraps of craft paper that I've cut. And then this is another craft paper pad which I also got from Kmart here in Australia. So this again is a different shade of craft. This paper pad cost me, I think it was about $4 or $4.50, and you get 50 pages on the pad. And this is a really nice paper as well. It's just a much deeper craft paper, and it's also not too thick. So it's 110 GSM, which is a really nice weight. So look around your house, look around your craft room, see what craft paper items you can find. You might be able to find some craft paper junk mail envelopes, stuff like that you can use to put these journals together. Or you can check out your grocery stores or dollar stores, and usually you can pick up packs of craft paper items. So the idea of this journal is to be really, really simple to put together, and it's going to be very, very versatile. So to begin with, I'm going to make the cover of my journal. And I would suggest picking perhaps a big craft envelope or a thicker craft paper for your cover. I'm going to pick one of these craft paper sheets for my cover because it's quite a thick paper, almost like cardstock. If you don't have a thicker craft paper or a craft envelope or something that you can use for your cover, you can always take two sheets of a thinner craft paper and use them together just to add a little bit of thickness to the cover. But these are going to be notebooks, so they don't necessarily have to have a thick, sturdy cover. It can be paper. So I'm just going to take that thicker piece of craft paper and I'm going to fold it in half, and that's going to be my cover. But I am going to trim this down a little bit because I want it to be just a little bit smaller. So I think I'm going to make this cover about 5 inches wide. And I'm going to make it a little bit shorter. I might make it about 6.5 inches tall. So again, it's just a paper cover. It's a little bit thicker because the paper that I've used is nice and sturdy. It's not too thin and flimsy. So you can really start with any type of craft cover, whether it's paper or a paper bag or an envelope. Just fold it in half and cut it to the size that you want it to be, and then we're going to add some papers on the inside. So the inside of this journal, it's going to have lots of varied craft paper types. I'm just going to take a nice variety and I'm just going to start folding them in half so that I can trim them down and then fit them inside the journal. And like I said before, it doesn't matter if you have different shades of craft. I actually think it makes it look really interesting. So I'm just taking some of the different craft paper pieces that I have here and I'm folding them in half because these are going to be added in as pages inside the journal. So with these paper bags, I have some long ones that I'm just going to fold in half. And because it's closed on one side, I'm just going to take my scissors and I'm going to cut it open on the other side as well. So just cutting off a little bit off the end. That way we have an open paper bag on both sides. So when this is bound into the journal, we'll have a pocket page on both sides. So I think I'll do 2 of those really long ones, just the same way. And when you're folding your pages, you can also always fold in pockets. So for example, if I fold this page up, then fold it in half, I will already have some pockets or little tuck spots in the journal. So when this is bound into the journal, you'll have a pocket here and a pocket here. Now for my lunch bag, paper bag, it's a little bit longer than the cover that I've cut. So I am going to again fold this up to create a tuck pocket along the bottom. And then I'm going to fold this in half. So this will give us a pocket here and a pocket here, and then we'll also have a pocket here in the back. And if I cut this open, we'll also have a pocket in the back there. So I'm actually just cutting the back section open. I'm going to leave this front pocket closed for now, and we'll see what happens with that later. So with the envelopes, we can do a few things. Sometimes I like to just leave the envelopes out until after I've bound the journal, and then I can attach them onto a page later. This is a little bit bigger than my cover though, so I think what I'm going to do is fold it in half. I might just seal this envelope up and then fold it in half, and then I'll have some more pocket pages inside the journal. So I've just sealed that envelope closed, and now I'm going to fold it in half. Instead of folding it perfectly in half though, I'm going to fold it a little bit off center so that we have one larger pocket and one slimmer pocket, or one longer page and one shorter page. So this will be a little small page, and then this will be a nice big page. And again, I'm going to cut the envelope open so that we have pockets as well. And there's 2 different ways I could do it. I could cut each edge like I did with the paper bags, or I can cut along the top and then we'll have top loading pockets. And I think because I've already got the paper bags with the side loading pockets, this time I'm going to cut along the top. So just cutting off a strip so that it's open. You can use a paper trimmer to get it looking a little bit neater, but I'm just using my scissors. So then we'll have some little skinny pockets there. So I think I'll go to about 10 pages. So we'll add a few more in. This envelope will fit inside the cover, so I'm going to add this in later on. I'm going to add in another full-sized page, and this time I'm going to fold the edges in to create some little side tuck pockets. And I will have to just trim this down along the top so that it's going to fit inside the journal as well. Now with these other craft bags from Kmart, they have this little bottom part of the bag here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut that part off. I'm just going to cut along the bottom here. And so that will just be, again, another little pocket page, and I'm just going to fold this one in half. So now I have 10 pages ready. So they're all a little bit different. They're all made with craft paper though, so everything matches together really well already. Now for some of these pages, they're too big, so I just have to trim them down and make sure they're going to fit inside our cover. So this one's too long, this one's too long and too wide. This one's also too big, And then some of these are just going to be too wide as well. So I'm just going to go through one by one and trim off any little excess piece that's going to hang out of the journal. If you don't have a paper trimmer, you can always take a ruler and you can just press it down onto the page that you want to cut down. Make sure you're holding it nice and firm and just tear off the excess that you don't need. So that's a really easy and quick way. Sometimes it's actually quicker than using a paper trimmer, and it gives you a nice rough torn edge look as well sometimes. So just go ahead and trim all of your pages down to fit inside the journal. So now you can see I've gone ahead and I've trimmed down all of the pages, and now they're all going to fit inside the cover. So as you saw, I did fold some pockets into some of these pages. So you can leave a lot of them just as tuck spots. You don't need to add any glue or anything if you don't want to. But I'm going to run some of these pages through my sewing machine and just seal up some of the edges of some of these pockets. If you don't have a sewing machine, you can also just do that with some glue or some double-sided sticky tape and just seal those little pockets closed. Or for a lot of them, like I said, you can just leave them as they are. You don't necessarily have to seal up the edge. You can always just leave that as like a little tuck pocket. But I'm just going to go ahead and add a little bit of stitching, and then we'll come back and move on to the next step. So I've gone ahead and I've added some stitching to some of those pockets just to seal them up, add a little bit of texture. Again, this is just an optional step. You can see some of the different pockets that I have. So side loading, there's some top loading. I've also done a little tuck pocket along the top and another regular pocket along the bottom. So now I'm just going to start assembling the pages in a pile. We're going to leave our cover out for now because we're going to decorate that a little bit more. So all I like to do is just lay out all of my pages that are going into the signature. So the signature is a group of pages that will be stitched inside the cover. And I'm just going to start assembling them together in kind of a bit of a random order. What I might do is put all of the pages that have stitching in a pile, and then I can kind of disperse those throughout the book so they're not all together, so they're kind of spread out throughout the book. So I'm just going to take my pages and I'm just going to order them on top of each other kind of randomly, just to give me a little bit of variation in what the journal's going to be like at the end. So I'm trying to spread out the types of pages that I have, the types of pockets that I have, and also the different colors of craft that I'm including in this book, just so that the book ends up looking quite interesting. And we've got lots of different textures and size pages within the journal. So there is our little craft paper signature. Looks pretty good, and I'm just going to double check that it fits inside our cover piece, which it does. If you have anything in your signature that's hanging out of the cover, you might just want to trim it down before we stitch everything in, just so that everything fits. If you can't trim it down, you can always fold it in as well. So I'm just going to put the inside pages aside for a minute, and we're going to talk about some different ways to decorate the outside cover. So because this is a craft journal and it's very easily customizable and they're going to make really great gifts, we kind of want to leave them open-ended. You can decorate them as much as you like, or you can leave them quite plain for the recipient to decorate. I think a really nice idea is to take a craft envelope that is the same size or smaller than your journal cover. So this craft envelope fits really well on my cover. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a die cut, and I'm actually going to put this inside the envelope, and I'm going to cut up so that I'm just cutting through this top full layer of the envelope. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a circle window out of the envelope, and then once that's cut, I'm going to seal the envelope closed. We'll have a piece that's got a window on it, and then I'm going to cut open probably along the top so that I can then attach this to the journal cover and have a little pocket where we can slip an image in and out and leave that open for whoever receives it to customize however they like. So I'm going to do it that way with my die cut machine. If you don't have one though, you can always do something similar. You can cut a window in manually with some scissors, or you can just use a plain piece of paper, cut down to the size that you want on the front, and then again manually cut a window. But this is just one way to decorate it. There's heaps of other ways as well. I'm just going to go ahead and do that, and then we'll talk about some other options. So I went ahead and I cut out the window on the envelope. Now I'm just going to seal this together, and this will fit really nicely on our front cover, and then we'll be able to tuck something in and out. So I was going to cut this open along the top, but now that I'm looking at it, I think I'll cut it along the side. One reason for that is because the window is just slightly off center. It's not quite in the middle. That's just because I couldn't really see where I was putting the die cut, and I didn't bother measuring anything out. So it's just a little bit closer to this edge. So if I trim this down, it will be more centered. So I'm just going to trim down a little strip here with my paper trimmer. And again, I'm not measuring anything out. I always just sort of eyeball it and hope for the best. And then that is going to give us a little pocket on the front cover where we can slip an image inside. So what I'm going to do, again, you can glue this down if you want to, but I'm just going to take my sewing machine and I'm going to stitch along 3 edges. I'm going to leave this side open so that we can change this out. So now I have attached that with my sewing machine. Again, you can do this with glue. The good thing about attaching it with my sewing machine is, though, we actually have a double pocket in the cover. So we have a pocket in behind the entire envelope, and then we have a pocket inside the envelope. So the top pocket with the window is where we can put some kind of image and add some kind of decoration. And then this second pocket can kind of act as some sort of storage or whatever you want inside there. So that's really functional. Now we can see the envelope inside, so I think it would be nice to take some paper and glue it on the inside here so that this looks a little bit more neat. So here I have like a craft paper bag, or we can use a craft piece of paper or a craft envelope, and I'm just going to cut this down so that I have a piece that will sit nicely in here and just give me a bit of a neater finish. So I'm going to glue that down inside, and then we'll still be able to slip an image over the top of that as well. So adding that bit of paper on the inside just makes the cover look a little bit neater, and we can leave it at this, or we can decorate it more, or we can add an image inside. I'm just going to leave it like this for now because I want to leave it nice and simple, and I'm creating something that can be given as a gift to then be customized however the recipient wants to. So I don't want to have any theme or anything like that. I'm just keeping everything craft paper. But we can then take our innards and put them inside, and you can see how this is looking super cute. Now I just wanted to talk about a couple of different options for cover decorations. So I'm just going to flip this over to give you some examples. So say we have a blank cover, you could go ahead and you could paint the cover if you wanted to. You could add some stamping or some embossing on the cover, or you could take the cover and you could put it through an embossing folder so that it's textured. You could take different shapes of craft paper. You could use these to create some kind of decoration on the front cover. So it could be like a little place to write a name or put a title to the journal or whatever you like on there. Or you can always leave the journal blank. It can just be a blank craft paper. You could do some stitching around, like a stitched border around. Really, because it's a craft cover, you can do whatever you like to decorate it. It's completely up to you. But for me, because I want to make this as like a gift, something that can be customized, I'm just going to leave mine at this. So I actually am just going to add a stitched border around the back cover as well. So I went ahead and I added some stitching on the back just to make it feel a little bit more finished, just to kind of match that front texture as well. And what I decided to do also while I did that was add a little piece of craft paper on the inside so that when I stitched it, I'll also have a pocket in the back. So just another little bit of storage space in the journal, and also it kind of adds a little bit more thickness to that outside cover. So I'm pretty happy with that, and now I want to go ahead and I want to bind all of the pages on the inside. So I'm just going to do a really simple 3-hole stitch, and I'm going to take some clips or one large paper clip and just use this to hold everything together. And then we're going to take our awl. So this is an awl, this pokey stick. It's just a very sharp stick. I'm just going to poke one hole roughly through the middle. So when I say the middle from each end. This is not perfect. I can see that I should have probably gone a little bit higher, but it doesn't need to be perfect. we're going to have another hole close to the bottom and another hole closer to the top. So you can measure this out if you want everything to be perfectly spaced, but this is just a quick little book to put together, so it definitely doesn't need to be perfect. And then to stitch that together, I'm taking a needle. This is a larger needle that you might use for sewing like dolls, like little rag dolls and stuff like that. You just need a needle where the eye of the needle is going to be large enough for the thread that you're using. And the thread that I'm going to use is just a white linen thread. And I'm just going to put the thread through the needle. I'm just going to leave the thread nice and long just to be safe, just to make sure we have enough extra so that it makes it nice and easy to bind. So to bind this book, I want the binding threads to hang off on the outside. You can have the threads on the inside if you want them hidden. It's up to you. So I'm talking about the tail ends of the thread. For me, I want the tails to be on the outside, so I'm going to start on the outside of the cover. If you want the tails hidden on the inside, start on the inside. But we're going to start with that middle hole, and we're just going to poke the needle through. And we're going through the cover and the pages all at once, and then just pull that through. And when we're pulling the thread through, we just want to make sure we leave a bit of a tail on the end. It definitely doesn't need to be this long. This is super long, but just make sure you have enough that you're going to be able to tie it easily. And then we're just going to go back out through either of those holes. It doesn't really matter which hole you go through first. So go through, pull that tight, and then we're going to go back in through the opposite hole that we haven't gone through yet. And then pull that tight again, so it's tight on the outside. And then we're going to go back out through the middle hole. And then just pull everything tight on both the inside and the outside, and we can take our needle off, and then we can tie this in a knot. I like to tie this in a double knot. So as you can see here, I have my threads on either side. This thread that's down the middle, so we've got one tail on this side and one tail on the other side. I'm just going to tie these now around that in a double knot. And then once you've tied that off, you can just trim off the tail however long you want it to be, and then we can take off the paper clip. So there is the journal all bound. I think it turned out super cute. This is a really versatile journal that can be used for anything. So you can use it exactly like this, just writing in it, adding little notes. You could draw in it. You can add photos to it, whatever you want. And the good thing about making the journal completely out of craft paper is that it can then become anything you want. So if you wanted to give this as a gift, you could maybe include like a little pouch of themed papers or extra little decorations to go along with it, and anything is going to match well with the craft paper. So this could become a Christmas themed journal, it could be a baby journal, it could be a non-themed journal with just mix and match of everything inside. It can be anything at all that you want, and you can give it just like this, or you can go ahead and you can add decorations. So we could go ahead and take any kind of image that we want, and we could slip it inside the cover. So here's a vintage rose image, which looks really pretty. For example, I've also got some scrapbook paper. So there's some mushrooms here, which look really cute. And on the back of these, some hedgehogs. So they also look super cute in the window. I've got some vintage wallpaper here, which could tuck inside. You can add anything in here and decorate it up. You could also take some extra like little craft shapes like this, and you could add a little place for a title on top. Or you could take some kind of pattern paper and add some pattern paper on here as well, just to start decorating it. You could do some stamping, some gold embossing, anything at all to decorate it, or you can just leave it exactly as is. So opening this up, I'll give you a quick little flick through inside. You can see we've got some different pockets, different types of pockets. So that one, there is a side loading paper bag. We've got a top loading pocket there, another paper bag pocket there. This is our large craft envelope, which is open at the top. So a pocket there, another side loading pocket there and there. Got some side tucks here, another little pocket there along the bottom, and then all the same in the second half of the signature. So that is how we make the cute little craft notebook journal, and you can change this up and make it a little bit different. I just love how quick this was to put together, and I love all the different brown pages in here. It kind of already looks a little bit vintage and really interesting, and all the different textures are really fun to play with as well. I also just wanted to show you another little variation of this that I made. So this is a slightly smaller version. This one is 6 by 4 inches, and this one was so fast to put together because I only really used my sewing machine. I even used my sewing machine to bind the journal. So I've just got some seam binding holding this closed at the moment, but I'll just slip this off to show you. So for the front, instead of doing a window, I just layered up some of those Kraft shapes, and I just stitched around the top one. I didn't even glue anything on here. I just went straight in with my sewing machine. And this can be used to add a title, or you could do some kind of stamping on the inside, or you can just leave it completely blank if you want to. I also have some stitching along the bottom and the top because on the inside I added an additional piece of paper. So I used 2 pieces of paper for the cover, and I just stitched along the edge so that this second one kind of acts as a pocket in the cover as well. So that's both in the front and the back. That also gives the cover a little bit more weight and makes it a little bit stronger. And then because I bound this one with my sewing machine, had a little bit of trouble in some areas getting through, so just make sure you go really nice and slow. But because I knew I was going to try binding it with my sewing machine, I added a few less pages. I think this one has 6 pages instead of 10. But again, it's just all different craft paper. So some paper bags, some plain craft paper sheets, some with little tuck pockets folded into them, and some craft envelopes, so all the same thing. So this one's just a bit of a small version to this one, and because I just used my sewing machine, I didn't do any hand binding or anything like that. It was super fast to put together. So those are the little journal projects I had to share with you guys today. I really hope you guys will give it a go. If you need a quick little gift idea, I think these would be so cute, and you can always package them up inside a brown paper bag as well. The paper bag would match the journal, and I think that would be so cute. So I really hope you guys enjoyed it. If you have any questions, you can always leave them in the comments down below. I hope you're all having a really great day, and I'll see you soon in my next video. Bye.